Good day. November 2019, I visited Korea and Japan, and as I left, I was looking forward to come back. Unfortunately, the COVID hit all of us. So first, I want to tell you that I can't wait to go back. And of course, I hope you all well, your loved one as well. The last 18 months and so were so difficult on all of us. Nevertheless, we continue to communicate, we continue to work, we continue to innovate, and we continue to deliver together with our partners solutions that fit the time that we were going through these difficulties, and also help us to accelerate along with our customer and our partner building towards the future. One of the benefits that we all got from this bad thing of COVID-19, it accelerated the digital transformation. It makes all of us realize that technology is there to help us during this difficult time. And also, we as Avaya, along with our partners and along with you, our customer, that have put our vision into action. And the vision was absolutely fit for purpose for that difficult time, which means digital transformation, working from anywhere, allowing our agent and contact center employees to work from anywhere, their choice, without any extra expensive or major shift of expenses. It allows us to implement our technology into a very stress test, and it all succeeded. Millions and millions of users in our contact centers and customer experience around the world have moved to work from anywhere. Without this solid technology, without the vision, we could not do that. We could not do that with our partners. We could not do that without you, our customer, believing on us and implementing the vision together. As we move towards the future, we are ready. We are adapted everything to work on a cloud first. We have introduced during the last 18 months a lot of product. Some of it we expedited to fit the current circumstances. Our CPaaS, our CCaaS, during the day you will hear a lot about our new technology from my colleagues, from our partners in the room, and a lot of excitement. We're looking forward to meet in person. We are more confident than ever that this difficult time not only will be behind us, but we look forward for a future that technology is there to serve us as a customer, as employee, and allow us to serve our customer, Avaya and its partner, on the right path. I wish I could be with you in a room. I can't wait to travel back and see you, but I want to thank you for trusting Avaya. I want to thank you for attending this event, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
어바야 고객 여러분, 그리고 어바야에 관심을 가져주시는 여러분 모두 안녕하십니까? 어바야 코리아 대표이사 양승합니다. 앞서 어바야 인터내셔널 니달 사장의 인사말에서 말씀드렸다시피 금년 행사는 온라인으로 개최하게 되었습니다. 온라인이지만 실시간 송출과 실시간 댓글을 통해서 여러분과 가능한 한 양방향 커뮤니케이션 되도록 그렇게 준비했습니다. 오늘 보시다가 다 못 보신 영상에 대해서는 6월 20일 이후로 저희가 아카이브로 올려드릴 테니 그 아카이브를 통해서 재생해서 다시 보실 수 있도록 준비하도록 하겠습니다. 이 시간 이후에 오늘 세션은 어바야 아태지역 세미 아모스 부사장의 키노트 스피치를 필두로 해서 세 가지 트랙의 어바야 세션이 준비되어 있습니다. 즉 CC, UC, 그리고 AI 및 클라우드 세션입니다. 이어서 바로 AI 관련 파트너 세션이 준비되어 있고요. 이와는 별도로 온라인 전시관이 준비되어 있으니 세션 중간중간이라도 여러분이 방문하셔서 같이 참관하시기 바랍니다. 이번 행사가 모쪼록 여러분들의 사업 계획에 좋은 정보가 되기를 바람하지 않으며 내년에는 직접 대면할 수 있는 기회가 되기를 진심으로 기원합니다. 여러분 오늘 참석해 주셔서 대단히 감사합니다.
Hi, my name is Sami, and I manage the Avaya business in the APJ area. First of all, I want to thank you all for attending this session. Today, I'm hoping to walk you through a few of our concepts and ideas in terms of where we see customer service moving and how Avaya can help you achieve those goals. The fact that I'm standing here at my house shooting this video to thank you and welcome you is just a small idea, just a small sample of how this pandemic has changed the world. I'm sure all of us on this call have felt it. I sure have. And I think if we really want to think about how customer service needs to change and adapt to the reality of the pandemic, then we need to think about how our customers think about how they buy and how they behave. We're coming up with a concept that Gartner has come up with called the everything customer. And what do we mean by that? This is the kind of customer that is forced to behave a little differently thanks to the pandemic, but that's been years in the building. This is a customer that's used to being connected all the time. They use their devices whenever they want. They use the chat, they use web, they use their PCs to get things done. But at the same time, they're also a customer that values their privacy. So they want to turn off notifications. They want to be left alone when they don't have anything pressing that they need to share with organizations. The same customer is also a customer that wants to be treated equally. They recognize that everyone is equal, but at the same time, they want to be treated uniquely in the sense that they expect organizations that serve them, to know their preferences, to offer them those preferences as they move forward. The customer, the everything customer that we're talking about today, also would like things to be expected. They don't want surprises. They want to know how to deal with organizations. They want to know how to use an IVR. They want to know where to find things on a website. But at the same time, these customers also want to be delighted. And you can only delight someone if you offer them the unexpected, if you give them positive surprises. And this customer, the everything customer, would like to use all the features that are possibly available to that customer. You know, if you think about the launch of an iPhone or an Android device, most people will stand in line, or these days go online and place an order as soon as the device is available. But the truth of the matter is, how many of those features do you think those customers would use? If a new iPhone comes out with 20 or 30 new features, they might use 4 or 5 features, maybe none. However, those same customers that demand all the features also expect those features to be easy to use. These seemingly contradictory requirements coming from these customers is what creates this unique customer that we call the everything customer. And in order to serve those customers well, in order for organizations such as yourselves to provide competitive differentiation, we need to think about how to serve them a little differently. Who serves customers? You might say it's a call center, it's the branch, but in reality, it's your employees. It's the staff that are sitting in the office. And the same way that this pandemic has affected staff, affected customers, it's also affected staff. What do I mean by affected staff? How many of you have gone to the office in the last month or so? I know I haven't. I know a lot of my colleagues and my team haven't. Working from home now has become the new normal. But think of how that affects customer service. So, if customers can't go to the mall or to the shopping center or to the what we call bricks and mortar store to buy things, how can they buy? Probably just go online. When do customers order online? You might find that the peak hour is maybe 7, 8 p.m. after work, after dinner. Now, think about when you staff your own employees. When do you have most people running in your office? It's probably 9 to 5. So you can see there's a bit of disconnect between the staff that are available to serve customers and when customers actually go and do online shopping. That's one example. What about how we work together with each other? Now, back in the days when you used to go to the office, you would set a meeting time. People would be expected to show up to the meeting, to be well prepared. You do the meeting, you do your discussion, you take your notes, you take your actions, and off you go to the next meeting. But if you think about how we do meetings today, it's no longer so well structured. People are throwing out invites whenever they're needed. People are exchanging messages and saying, let's jump on a collaboration environment. In our case, Avaya, we use Avaya Spaces. Let's get on, let's share content, let's take notes, let's disperse. This always connected, always on collaboration is a little different than what we're used to in the office environment. In fact, I would argue that this idea of work being something that you go to. So you put on your clothes in the morning, you get on the train, you go to the office, you do your work, you come back home. You don't work on the weekends, you don't work in the evening. It's slightly changing. Work is no longer something you do or somewhere you go. It's about value you produce. And the pandemic has really driven that point home, not just for employees, but also for organizations such as yourself. What does that mean? It means that people are starting to see that I don't have to be physically in the office and work 9 to 5 in order to produce. People are moving away from the concept of work-life balance to what we are calling work-life blend. What does that mean? Think of a typical environment where you're working from home, you have to homeschool your children, and you also live at home, naturally. You wake up in the morning, maybe you'll wake up at around 6, have your breakfast, do some email to around 8 or 8:30 till it's time to wake up the kids, get them ready for school, they start schooling, you do your work, they're doing their classes. Come lunchtime, you might have a family lunch, even though everyone is working. At the end of the day, maybe around 4 or 5, you log off from work, you take care of the family, you have dinner with the family, put the kids to school, and might go back and do a couple of more hours of email or calls. That's a reality that most of us are facing today. And that reality is really a blend. It's a blurring between what we used to call work and life into what is now just life. So you have these contradictory elements. You have the everything customer who wants to be served in all these contradictory ways. You have the what we call always on business that is looking at employees and resources a little differently. And the question is, how can I take advantage of these changes? Instead of looking at them as challenges, how can I take advantage of them to serve our customers better? So Gartner is combining all these concepts, the customer experience, the user experience that we're talking about, the employee experience where we make our employees work better, into what we call total experience. And total experience is about breaking down the barriers that used to stop us from serving our customers better by incorporating all of these different elements into how organizations and customers interact. Now, what does that mean in a practical sense? Avaya looks at how we connect organizations to customers using 4 different pillars. And these pillars are built around the customer. These pillars are not designed to be independent of the customer, or they're not inward looking. They're actually outward looking. They look at the customer at the center of everything. The first pillar, and this is something that Avaya has been doing for years, is getting connected. Now, as an organization, we've been providing customers such as yourself tools to connect customers via voice, via email, via chat, via social media. This has always been the case. What's becoming more and more relevant is that there are new channels emerging all the time. So we know the big social media networks, but they don't apply everywhere. In Japan, for example, Line is the application that is most popular. In other countries, it could be Messenger or iMessage from Apple. In some countries, it's WhatsApp. In some countries, it's Facebook Messenger. So you have all these different applications that are always emerging as in terms of new channels that need to be connected. So the pillar number 1 that we always talk about is make sure that you can connect with your customers using the channel of their choice. Don't limit them, don't funnel them into one thing that you think you're most comfortable with. Allow them to choose. Element number 2 has to do with connecting these customers to your employees. And this is what we call process orchestration. Now, what do I mean by that? If you think of when a customer calls, sometimes the best person to serve them is the call center agent, but oftentimes it's someone sitting in the back office somewhere. And if that's the case, how do you ensure that you find the right resource to serve that customer? How do you ensure that that person is available and that they have the right information to serve the customer and that everything is there to serve the customer? And we argue that orchestrating a process in the sense that knowing what kind of call is coming, what kind of interaction is coming, who the right people are to serve that customer based on that interaction, what is the process that is being used to serve that customer, and making sure those things work smoothly together to create a seamless experience is process orchestration. So get the right channels, get the right processes. The third element is how do you ensure that your employees actually have the right tools to serve customers? And this is where we start talking about managing resources. You have the right number of people, but those people are also empowered with the tools they need. What does that mean? When a call or a chat arrives at an agent desktop, does the agent have to switch 10 different applications and search through different fields? Or is everything ready for them? They have one screen that they touch that shows them all the information relevant to that interaction. Obviously, the second scenario is more appealing. It's a quicker interaction between an agent and a customer. But it does require us to look differently on the tools that we use. And those tools are not limited to call center agents. They also should be made available to your staff in the back office so that any process that requires that they get involved in resolving a customer issue includes the right tools for them. And keep something very important in mind. When we say tools, we're not just talking about the actual tools that the agents use, but also infusing AI into the process so that when an interaction comes up, the tools and the information that is required for that interaction are simplified to the agent with suggestions, with information, with knowledge management, which is the fourth pillar that we also want to talk about. So the interaction has come in, you have a process orchestrated, you have the right resources. You need to also make sure that these resources are armed with the correct information, which is infusing knowledge and insights into every interaction. AI is key here because there's such a large amount of information, and finding the right response needs a little bit more than just doing a search term. If you did a search term based on what the customer is saying, you might get either too many results or not enough results. In AI, what we are advocating for, especially in infusing knowledge and information, we're advocating for using AI to try to understand what the customer is saying before the call even arrives at an agent, based on their history, based on their interaction on an IVR, especially if it's a voice-based IVR. And also, and taking that information, looking through whatever knowledge sources that we have in an organization and presenting that information to the agent so that the agent then takes the right decision and judgment on what information is needed for that interaction. So these four pillars: connecting customers and organizations, orchestrating the processes, managing your resources, and offering them all the right information is the correct way of serving customers in a total experience manner. Now, I've made my introduction. You might be thinking, Avaya, yes, this is what we're facing. These are great ideas for how to resolve them. How can I use Avaya technology to move forward? Good question. Historically, as an organization, we have gone from voice to multimedia, to multi-channel, to omni-channel. And this transition in terms of new channels and capabilities has kept up with the market. A lot of you as customers today either have multi-channel or omni-channel solutions for us. What we're saying is that we are at a point today that we need to take a step forward. And that step forward is is offering what we call a total experience to our customers. What does that mean from a technical point of view? If you think of the elements that you use today to serve your customers, they tend to be built monolithic, single site, maybe multiple sites, but on your data center, well-controlled, secure, scalable. But if you think of the drawbacks, you might find that, you know what, because they're so stable and secure, they're not very agile. They're not very flexible. It's not easy to add applications. It takes time. It's not easy to expand. You need to plan it. You need time. You need to take turn things off from the call center side. So, with those things in mind, how can I improve things? We are advocating for a new concept that we are calling composable experiences. What do we mean by composable? Composable is a concept where we don't just take everything and build it as it is. We take everything and move it into smaller, what we call composable elements that can be added or removed at will. Now, there are some technical requirements for that. Microservices, cloud infrastructure really helps, but it's not just about being on-prem or in the cloud. What Avaya is advocating is actually a movement from on-prem to the cloud. And that movement, or that roadmap, if you will, depends on where you are as a customer today. So if you think of where you are today, you might be in the early stages of doing multi-channel. To that we say, fantastic. What you can do is, let's look at how we can give you some services based on the cloud that adopt these new concepts of composability and use them to enrich and empower your call center. So you might have multi-channel, but then AI comes from the cloud. Or you might have multi-channel and then knowledge management comes from the cloud, or robotic process automation. So it doesn't have to be, let's move everything to the cloud. I can enrich my call center by adding elements to the cloud. Another way of looking at it is thinking of how important these elements are to you as an organization. If they are part of your core systems, if they are part of your core information, we would say, you know what, those elements could be moved last to the cloud. They remain on-prem, they remain somewhat classic in how they're managed, very secure, very stable, you hold on to them. Then there are elements that are a bit more innovation-driven elements, and those could be, you know, the multi-channel serving new digital channels such as chat or new applications. Those elements could take some form of hybrid cloud, where you have some elements on-prem and some elements in the cloud. Or maybe move to private cloud, where you start getting some of the benefits of public cloud, but still retain all the security and safety that you're used to in your on-prem solutions. And then there might be a third set of applications that are what we call experimental applications. Those are the really cutting-edge technologies. You know, it can be like AI-powered chat. It could be building your applications using CPaaS. It could be any sort of application that is not necessarily in your organization today, that is easy and simple to develop, that is important to your business, and you want to move forward with it. So depending on where you are, you can compose your experiences in different ways, and Avaya will help you to do that. So if I think of our offering as Avaya, I would say that we are making it easy for you as organizations to choose the right path and progression to serve your end customer. That could be start with on-prem and move to cloud. It could be, I want to start experimenting in the cloud. It could be, I want to do hybrid. It could be, I want to do private cloud. It's really up to you how you want to consume things. And we are making it publicly available that you can go for UCaaS, you can go for CCaaS, and you can even build your own applications on a CPaaS platform. So with this idea of composable applications and the 4 pillars of customer service, of connectivity, making sure that all your employees have the right processes and tools, process orchestration, and resource management, we feel that Avaya has an excellent set of differentiators for you to be successful and compete in the market. I want to thank you for your time today. Hopefully you'll stick around and go out to all the breakout sessions that we have set up for you. And hopefully in a not too distant future, I'll be able to come and visit some of you in person in your countries. Thank you.
안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 이어서 어바이어 세미나 1이 시작됩니다. 3가지 세미나 중 한 가지를 선택하여 시청하실 수 있습니다.